Hello and welcome to Shonen Jump Profile, a mini-series on the lineup of Shonen Jump, Japan's top source for manga. In this series, I hope to briefly introduce, summarize, review, and recommend the various manga currently running in Shonen Jump to hopefully help you discover your new favorite. Stick around to the end to find out how to read the series in question. These videos are spoiler-free outside of images. Fantasy has often given rise to the fascination with magic, to weave spells and incantations supreme. But honestly, is there anything more magical than a toned biceps and some rippling abs? Shonen Jump's new gag series Mashle certainly doesn't seem to think so. Written and illustrated by Hajime Komoto, and in publication since January 2020, Mashle, Muscles and Magic is a relatively new addition to the Jump lineup. Yet it is already right at home with its unconventional deadpan humor rounding out the magazine quite effortlessly. Mashle follows Mash Burndead, a young man born into a Harry Potter parody of a world, full of magic, not Hogwarts, and not Dumbledore. However, Mash possesses no magic ability at all, a grave sin in the eyes of the magic world. Undeterred, Mash trains and hones his body into ludicrous perfection, to the point where he can deflect magic with his bare hands and dislodge heavy doors with a gentle push. To escape the prosecution of the government that wants to eradicate non-mages, he must prove his worth to society by claiming the title of Divine Visionary, the position given to only the greatest students of Eastern Magic Academy. Armed with his muscles and some creampuffs, Mash sets out to gather allies and conquer the unfair system that deems him unworthy. As you can tell, this manga follows the very classic underdog story, but with a twist. While Mash's lack of magic makes him underpowered in the eyes of the world, he quickly shows to us, the readers, that his muscles more than make up for it. You can think of it similarly as, One Punch Man and Mob Psycho, to which Mashle doesn't just have visual references and similarities. And it is from this juxtaposition that Mashle derives its core feature, its absolute bonkers comedy. Seeing this Mob Psycho looking dude bench press half a ton and then eat a muffin is just as stupid as it sounds, but it is my kind of stupid. You'd think that the gag surrounding "oh, he can't do magic, it's biceps time" would get old rather quickly, and it might in the future, but as of right now, around 45 chapters into the series, trust me, it hasn't gotten old yet. Much of the comedy comes not just from that gag alone, however, but also from the cast's fun and silly reactions to it, with each member having defined and interesting characteristics. And that cast forms another strength of Mashle. I'd be lying if I told you that these are immensely profound, moving human beings. They are not, they are idiots. But similarly to how easy it is to fall in love with the dysfunctional idiots of Konosuba, it is equally easy to enjoy just watching Mash, Finn, and Lance be doofuses who get way too into things. And it's that lovable aspect of them that is both utilized and enhanced in the series' many sweet, chill chapters, where we just get to see these guys hang out and be happy. There's something heartwarming to just seeing these idiots thrive, and it really pushes the story forward in a way that is very, very sweet. When they're not busy being funny or being happy, our characters are engaged in one of the series' many combat encounters, and this is perhaps the series' biggest surprise. While Mashle is first and foremost a comedy manga, its offerings in terms of action and fights are surprisingly robust. The series effortlessly shifts from goofy creampuff gags to intense shonen battle moments, a shift that is in no small part aided by Komoto's wonderfully malleable art style, switching from One Punch Man webcomic to One Punch Man manga real quick. The power system is also quite good. It's basically just your run-of-the-mill magic system where everyone has a unique brand of magic. You can think of it as a similar system to what you'd find in Black Clover. But the abilities are varied and interesting enough to really carry much of the action in a satisfying way. Instead of just having lightning, fire, and water, you have stuff like gravity, music, and puppetry, and they're just interesting enough to carry you through the story in a very entertaining way. There are even certain expansions to the system happening already, with new and interesting additions to it being made this early on, which is really impressive for such a young series. It is that youth of the series, however, where I also find the series' biggest shortcoming as of right now. At around 45 chapters long, remember I'm recording this earlier so it might have changed by now, there just isn't much of a story yet in Mashle. Most events are isolated, small incidents with little momentum for a grander narrative, and while that is absolutely normal for a series this new, it still means that it's hard to really gauge where the plot is headed, or even if it is headed anywhere at all. This is also the reason why this video will probably be quite short, as there really isn't much substance to much of the story yet. Every week when I read Mashle, I'm not thinking about where the story is going or what the narrative is trying to tell me, because I know there just isn't much there yet. I'm mostly there to be entertained, and while that works every week, I'm laughing every week, I can't say that I find myself thinking about the plot and these characters very much after I've finished reading a chapter, and I think that just comes down again to this lack of substance. And again, this is emblematic of its early status, and of course of the fact that it is a gag series, and a gag series doesn't need necessarily a grander narrative plot, but nonetheless, this can be something someone is specifically interested in, so I thought it's worth mentioning here. Luckily, this is a problem that will sort of just solve itself over time, since the more story progresses, the more substance it will have, hopefully. Nonetheless, this might be something worth considering if you're thinking to jump into it, whether you maybe just want to wait a while before the series' direction becomes clearer. In conclusion, Mashle earns a strong recommendation from me. Its energetic comedy keeps me entertained week after week, while the occasional battles and their beautifully illustrated action tickles the gorilla part of my brain in just the right way. The lovable cast and their goofy adventures make spending time in this magical world a joy, even if the plot and narrative do not really have much substance or drive as of right now. So yeah, definitely give it a try if you're interested in manga at all. If you have a tolerance for manga comedy, which I know not everyone has, but if you do, I think you should definitely check this one out. If you live in the US, UK, or Australia, you can download and join the Shonen Jump app for $2 a month to have access to their entire library of manga, including all of Mashle. If you live outside of those regions, you're gonna have to wait for the volumes to start releasing in your language. For reference, the first English physical volume is dropping in June. So yeah, maybe just use a VPN to get access to the Shonen Jump app if you don't live in the respective regions. That's how I do it. It sucks that that's how we have to do it, but licensing is what it is and I can't fix that. Shocking news, local YouTuber cannot fix global problem that affects licensing all across the world. How will we survive? Thank you so much for watching, and of course a special thank you to all our patrons, including Christian Finkbeiner, Fiction Ape, Paradja, Victor Perez, Sini, Zanji1, and Mr. Meander. Take care of yourself, be safe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.